Oh, hey, how's it going? Shit, didn't fancy seeing you here. What are you doing here? Oh, I suppose I might as well do a video then, I guess. Hey, look, does this look familiar? Does this look kind of cool? Does this look finished and interesting? Like, you know, the map is blooming with possibilities, pregnant with gameplay. Well, what if I told you this is actually entirely inaccessible? If this whole fucking area is not even usable by the player, alright? Because, you know, once again, I'm cheating. I'm using no clip. These beautiful views of, not that, but, you know, the M25 in all its glory. Look how cool this looks. This verticality is incredible. And this goes right over one of the main highways in Cyberpunk. I can show you on the map actually. So sort of the east side of the map. This is one of the big old motorways, or the highways if you want to be American. This piece of verticality is incredibly interesting, but I want to make it clear that this is not the only example. There's actually fucking dozens of them. Like, for example, one over here. Let's check this one out first. Cyberpunk was supposed to have a lot of verticality, a lot of, you know, elements that made it interesting, that showed off the height of the city. It was spoken about a lot pre-release, but come the release of the game, there isn't a great amount of it. You're mostly on the ground, bar a couple missions which are extremely scripted, but you get what I'm trying to say. So there are elements of Cyberpunk which maintain this verticality, even if it's not that high up, like these pedestrian bridges which cross over traffic, making realistic sense, because, you know, how the fuck are you crossing this road in 2077? But many of these, and I say many lightheartedly, I mean like pretty much fucking all of them, are not usable. They're like this. So they're fully modelled, they make sense in terms of the map and how the map plays out, but they're not usable, nor are they accessible by the player. So you have a lot of examples of places like this which just suddenly cut out, places like that which suddenly cut out, and I mean this one especially is actually huge. It's massive. As you can see, it goes all the way along and it hits just walls. I mean, this one even continues on slightly, but then obviously goes into nothing. But you can see how huge this is. Like, look at it, it's massive. That's the first example, right? So that's just down over here. But then here is another example. This is where we were at the beginning of the video. Again, exact same thing, verticality. Look at this. These bridges are designed in the real world to cross over busy motorways, you know, places with a lot of cars, which obviously you can't cross on foot. I mean, try crossing this shit in the real world, you'd be fucked. So they build these things. But look, this one, for example, hits this fence. Bearing in mind, to even get up here is impossible. Like, you physically can't without no clipping. Yet goes all the way down here, and even does a right. It goes down, hits what is the edge of the map. Essentially, it doesn't exist. Now, you may be looking at this and being like, well, look, clearly it's just part of the infrastructure. It's there so it looks like it's a lived-in city, and yes, I agree with you. 100% I agree with you. There's a lot of examples of these kind of walkways being used throughout the map, but they are not actually modelled. You know, they'll be, in some cases, like an illusion. They look regular sized, but then when you go up to them, they'll be half the size. You know, the floor won't have collision, there's not a lot of textures, it will be maybe 10 foot long and then it quits. But these ones are, they're modelled. Okay, maybe the floor's a little bit fucked. I think it looks kind of cool actually, but hell, you even have some props like a bin bag. What's interesting about this one, and which makes me think that this probably was usable at some point in time, is if you follow it all the way down here, down all these steps, bearing in mind this is taking you pretty much out of bounds. This area you can drive down right below me, but this part is not accessible at all. Now you go over here and you'll hit an invisible barrier. You can kind of clip behind this and you get stuck again, but the point I'm trying to make is that there's a door. Look at these doors, look, the door works, it's got a green light, They just, look, they open and they close. Wait for it to close and they close. This is a working door. Makes you question, but this is what it's connected to. Just a building, a soft sis. Completely out of the playable area, as you can tell. So I don't know, maybe you did come in here for whatever reason, went up in a lift, flew up here, and then bang, you got a whole pedestrian access point. I don't know, it's all speculation. But it's interesting to look at this kind of verticality, because there's examples of it pretty much all over the map. And yes, absolutely it does fit into the thematics of the map, like without a doubt. But then when it's fully modelled with collision, with props, with even working doors at the entrances and exits, then shit, I don't know, it becomes a little bit more than a visual illusion. It becomes work, which doesn't make a great deal of sense. So yeah, look, I'm gonna cut it here. Hope you found it interesting, guys. If you did, leave a like on it, and as always, I'll catch you lot in a bit.